All right. Okay, fantastic. Tonight's class at Hope Community is on autophagy, and that is not toffee candy. You are going to be delighted and really learn a lot. I need to know if you guys can see can you see my slides? Because
Yes.
okay, because I've lost everybody. This is not sure why it does this, that I've lost everybody. On here, for some reason, the projection.
Right, that does that to me sometimes. I'm doing.
How interesting. Okay.
Sometimes if I go out of it and then reshare it,
Okay.
sometimes it'll come back.
All right. Stop share. And then reshare. Let's do that. Share. All righty. Okay. Where are you at? It's the same. Give subtitles. No. Stop share again. Admit. All righty. Recording. Let's get this going. All right.
Yeah, you're not showing your screen. They can share again.
Okay.
There you go. What's up?
Okay. For some reason, participants can now see your screen. Okay. So everybody, can you all see my screen? Okay. All right. This was personally inspired through some of the fasting that I have done this past year and in the past. Because I've discovered one of the most powerful weapons that personally for me and that I see in scripture when you need God to move is fasting. So I just recently went through a 3-day fast. And so this class is from my personal experience.
I want to share with you real quick before you get into it. On this screen, it's showing all of your whole slide thing down at the bottom and your toolbar.
All right, then let me do this. Usually I go use slideshow. I go here. Hold on. Maybe this is, how about now?
Better.
Now.
But you are on here.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
There you are.
Okay. We got it. Oh my goodness. You're only a click away from full success. Yay. So I got so excited about this topic of autophagy that I was like, oh Lord, I've got to share this information because that's my identity, right? That's the teacher in me, right? That's who I am. If you get around me, you're going to learn something. You get around me, I'm going to make a deposit and in your life in some way that's going to help you, guide you. So autophagy simply means self-eating cleaning system because your body is not a statue. It is a river. And every time you see in scripture that talks about the river of life, and out of your belly shall flow what? Rivers of living water. It's because your body operates and functions like a river. 90% what? Water. It is a flowing, functioning, fluid river. And why is it that the medical sees the body like a statue? They don't they don't train in a way that connects each part of the body like a living, flowing organism, like a river. So would you say that rivers change? Would you say that rivers overflow, rise up, get low according to the what? Environment, right? Would you say that rivers can be pristine and clean? And some rivers can be downright nasty and dirty, depending on the environment, right? Absolutely. So just
They change course.
exactly, they change course. Yes, they do. Amazing. And sometimes they run uphill, not downhill. Sometimes they run north and not south. Absolutely. So I want you to just picture in your mind that your body is a river, not a statue. So fasting for a closer walk with God. This is really important. How many people fasted? Well, here's a bunch of scriptures. You can do a snapshot of this, but there are over actually 50 Bible verses in referencing fasting, and fasting for the purpose of seeking God, fasting for the purposes of facing an enemy, and your desire to know what God wants you to do while you're facing the enemy. So we fast and besought our God for this, and he was entreated of us. And that was Ezra 8:23. And then fasting will loose the bands. This is Isaiah 58, which is the famous passage for fasting. And what does he say? He said it will loose the what? The bands of wickedness and undo the heavy burdens. And I'm telling you, if you have a burden that is continuously upon you and never wants to leave, fasting is the fastest way to break it. Let the oppressed go free, because if you have a heavy burden that lingers and lingers and you're getting heavier and heavier, aren't you going to be oppressed? And break every yoke, because a yoke is something to where when you're yoked up with something that is pulling you in another direction, one of you are going to die. This is why the word of God says, do not be unequally yoked in marriage. Do not be unequally yoked. And it is a cruel to unequally yoke animals, because the stronger one will always pull against the weaker one. So you put two animals that have equal strength, in other words. And if the stronger one pulls against the weaker one, then the weaker one will die. So fasting for a closer walk with the Lord is vital, important. It's probably one of your number one tools for fighting spiritual battles. Starve the flesh and feed the soul. You see this many times in scriptures. So what does fasting do? It builds a new foundation in your life. You will emerge from a fast like a butterfly coming out of a cocoon. It destroys toxic invaders spiritually and physically. It refreshes the spirit, the body, and the soul. So you're actually getting all three layers. It cleans up the heart, and I'm talking about your intentions of the heart. It cleans up the mind, the thoughts of the mind, because it's going to clean out, we're going to learn, it cleans out some of those dendrite and some of those neurons that were built that are lingering and hanging around, that are developing a ghost town that needs to be flattened. It delays death. Did you know that fasting will delay death? Oh, yes. And it prevents chronic types of metabolic diseases. Wow. Are you ready to dive in? Let's dive in. Oh, by the way, you shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes out of the mouth of what? All right. So fasting actually trains your body to be in subjection to the Holy Spirit. Fasting before feasting. All right. So this is the doctor who won the Nobel Prize for actually revealing this system in the body called autophagy. In fact, Hippocrates says to eat while sick is to fuel your illness. Do you all remember that when people were getting the C word, the C blank, blank, blank D word, do you remember that when we were told to not eat anything, that people who went on a fast during that time recovered quickly? Do you remember that? Absolutely. Pythagoras said required fasting for his students. In fact, he would not teach you as a philosopher, Greek philosopher, unless you were fasting. Plato, Aristotle, more Greek philosophers, advocates for fasting. Ben Franklin said the best medicine is rest and fasting. What? Wow. And how about Mark Twain? A little starvation can do more than the average sick person, for the average sick person, than can the best medicine and the best doctors. Oh my goodness. So we're hearing some words from the past, but we heard some words prior to that from our creator about fasting. So let's take a look. Autophagy. Autophagy is a natural process in which cells break down and recycle their damaged or unnecessary components to maintain cellular health and function. It helps to remove debris, supports cell survival, especially during times of stress and nutrient deprivation. It is God's programmed in your body system self-cleaning. So after 24 hours of no food, your body switches to autophagy mode. Your body starts scavenging itself. What does it eat first? Cancer, cyst, lumps, crystals in the joints, crystals, toxins, fat. I'm telling you, this is genius. Autophagy, this only happens when you get to the stage of autophagy. This only happens when you get to that stage. It begins to eat the things in your body that were designed to take your life early. It cleans them up so you can live longer and live healthier as you live longer. So here's this doctor. He said when the body is hungry or fasting, it starts a process called autophagy, which removes damaged, aging cells that can lead to disease like C and A. All right, so benefits of fasting: decreases the risk of chronic disease, recycles protein. So it takes old proteins that's just hanging around, just kind of limping around and hanging around. It actually recycles those old proteins. Hey, let's get to work. Let's get busy. You got a job to do. As a survival mechanism and uses it as fuel. It reduces pathogens. You know what a pathogen is? A bacteria, a virus, a microbe, something that's a parasite. Oh my goodness. Remember when I did my class on parasites? Autophagy will eat parasites. Protects neurons and cardiac cells in the brain. Oh my goodness. So it goes in. You remember when you sleep at night, when you go into that REM sleep and you go into it's a brain cleansing and starts with an A, but anyhow, it's a brain cleansing and amyloid. And so it cleans up the amyloid debris in the brain, and autophagy goes in and cleans the brain like a good night's sleep. Gets rid of amyloid plaque. There it is, right there, Lawan. Sticky proteins that clog things up. It cleans up all the damaged protein. It gets rid of viral antigens that causes inflammation. So when you come out of autophagy, you will actually have less inflammation. You'll have clearer thinking. You'll have better skin. You'll have brighter eyes. You'll have a healthier liver. You'll have a healthier heart. It's quite amazing. Most important benefit, the C cells uses fermented glucose instead of oxygen. Now, this is really important for those who have the C and battling the C. And it's not SEA. A cell that's irregular and replicating itself is a cell that no longer uses normal oxygen for its respiration and its function to stay going. So it goes into a survival mode to try to find another source of fuel to stay alive. And that source of fuel is fermentation. And that fermentation is from sugar, carbs, all of the foods, the junk foods. They actually develop an environment of fermentation in the body. So healthy cells use oxygen. An unhealthy cell will use fermentation. And this is called a C cell and an irregular replicating cell. So one of the ways they test for C is using a PET scan, right? So what do they give you? They give you a radioactive glucose to drink, and they put you in the scan because a PET scan, they're looking for extreme glucose consumption. And they know exactly where the C is because C eats sugar. That's how it's surviving. That's how it's replicating. That's how it's growing. That's how it's advancing. That's how it's growing its cysts, its tumors, and such like. C cells are extremely hungry for glucose. They hog glucose and they will starve normal cells to get the glucose. So a deprived cell of oxygen that's forced to mutate to use fermentation will actually steal and influence healthy cells and turn them into unhealthy cells. Sound like a narcissist to you? A terrorist? The C is damaging to the respiratory part of the mitochondria. It's an overgrowth of unwanted tissue. Autophagy has the ability to clean up the damage to the mitochondria. This is huge. This is huge because the research is showing in the past, they keep telling people that the C is caused by genetics, but it doesn't make sense. So new research is pushing its way forward and emerging that came from the 1800s from Otto Warburg that said, no, it is a metabolic issue. It is a malfunction with the mitochondria. The mitochondria has its own DNA in the cell. It is responsible for all of your energy source. And when the mitochondria no longer can get oxygen because the environment, like a river, is so dirty that the mitochondria starts to break down and then turns to the fermentation for survival. So if autophagy comes in, that is the state of autophagy through fasting, and eats up those damaged mitochondria, would that be good? Would that be a good thing for you? Oh my goodness, yes. Autophagy has that ability. Most diseases are related to mitochondrial function, about 80%. All chronic diseases are related to a malfunction of the mitochondria. Let's dig deeper. The mitochondria runs the show. Autophagy has and Otto Warburg wrote about this in his research in the 1800s. Autophagy has the ability to clean up the damage to the mitochondria. Most diseases. Oh, I think that's a repeat. Okay, here's how part of how it works. This is so fascinating. You know how they sell the human growth hormone? Because they say you can pull back the aging with HGH, human growth hormone. Autophagy puts you in a state of increasing the human growth hormone up to 500%. And it's that human growth hormone that's pulling back the time, pulling back the aging, and cleaning up the debris that is bogging your swamp down. And it's free. And you don't have to pay for food. You just drink water. It will boost your immune system, and it will remove oxidation stress and reduce inflammation. Who doesn't need to reduce inflammation? The root of all chronic disease is inflammatory, out of control. Oh my goodness, this is amazing. This is God's medicine. This is God's medicine. Fasting can, anti-aging cleaning system, tissue quality improving, so your skin improves, your eyes improve, your hair improves, everything about you is going to be improved. It provides new raw materials to create new healthy cells, so it initiates stem cells. Human growth hormone initiates stem cells to create new healthy cells. Consistent intermittent fasting, 18 hours. So let's say I'm not going to go through 3 days with just water. How about daily practicing 5 days a week, intermittent fasting, and get some of the benefits of autophagy? How about doing that? So there's variations of how you can do this. And this is what I liked about this. You don't have to go 3 days without food, just water to go into autophagy. But if you want to fully reap the benefits of autophagy, you do. But if you want to reap some of the benefits of autophagy, go try intermittent fasting. Try it at least 5 days a week. So it's 18 hours mixed with exercise. And here they've shown in research that when you mix the fasting with exercise, it speeds up autophagy. And the type of exercise is strength training. And I've got it written here in one of the slides. It's strength training and
Cardio.
no, it's not. It's a sudden burst, like 2 minutes
Training.
upstairs. What is it?
Did training?
No, there's another word for it.
I know what you're talking about. Interval.
Interval, but there's another word
It's
before
something-
interval.
It's something else.
It's
Where you
interval.
do like 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds.
Yeah,
of
but you
rest.
do it for two minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
it's
do
a
it like
2 minute.
8 rounds of
Yes.
That.
Yes.
Yeah.
That will initiate autophagy. If you run a treadmill, it will not initiate autophagy. It is strength and whatever you just said.
I can't think of it.
Interval. It's a type of interval training where you go for
Tabata.
Tabata
I
type
think it's Tabata.
Tabata type training where you just you can get up and dance around the room for 2 minutes. Just to where you exert a whole lot of burst of energy for 2 minutes.
You can
And
also
you can
do it
rest.
like with like if you're walking.
Jump rope.
You could run for
You
30
can do that.
seconds and
Yes,
walk.
but just on a treadmill is not going to do it. It requires an exertion burst of 2 minutes to go into a level of autophagy. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Is somebody needing on? I think they are. Jacqueline, welcome, welcome. It gets rid of metabolic waste. You see, if you get rid of metabolic waste, then your risk of metabolic disease goes down, right? So if you clean up your river, then your odds of festering bacteria and virus and fungus and mycotoxins and all this mess and irregular cell replication is going to be less, right? Absolutely. So, detoxing the cells, reduce sagging skin, brain concussion. I can tell you the research on autophagy for brain concussions and for recovery for brain concussions, improvement, reverse early stages of the A word. It cleans up the dendrite and the neurons in the brain, just as if you had a great whole week nights of rest. And the cleanup crew came in and did their job. Immune system upgrade. So it goes in and eats up all of the old red blood cells. So you get a whole new set of red blood cells when you go into autophagy. Oh my goodness, is this exciting or what? Fast food or fast to remove the dead food? How many here has ever eaten dead food? Oh my goodness, I probably did today. Although today I had a huge salad with one little crab cake this size. Oh my goodness. I was like, that's my protein, honey. Anyhow. So to get into autophagy, you have to deplete your reserves in your body. So this is what accounts for autophagy. And this is why that strength training and those like Tabata bursts is exerting your energy storage quickly. So then the body has to go into a quick fix called autophagy. Sugar and protein, high sugar and protein will stop autophagy, and glucose interferes with the cleanup. Any amount of calories will stop the process of autophagy. So you might say, well, I'm going to go on a little 3-day fast and I'm going to have just oranges and grapefruit and fruit. You will not go into autophagy. Or you might say, I'm going to do a 3-day fast and I'm just going to eat a protein shake. You will not go into autophagy. You might say, I'm going on a 3-day fast and can I drink my Elevate? No, you cannot drink your Elevate. But let me tell you, if you're doing your 18-hour intermittent fasting, drink your Elevate. So you can turn it up 18, then you can go 48 hours and then 72 hours for fasting. I recommend to start slowly. 18 hours, starting with 18 hours and rolling into 24 and 48, then to 72. Don't just sit down and eat 4 burgers and 4 salads on Friday night and say, I'm going to go into autophagy on Saturday. Because you're going to get sick, number one, you're going to get a headache, number two, and it's going to take you longer to go into autophagy because you just stored a whole bunch of protein and a whole bunch of carbs in your cells. So if you're full of sugar, it's going to take you longer to go into autophagy. If you're eating high protein, it'll take you 8 hours to go into autophagy. If you're eating high fat diet, it takes less time because fat has less calories in it. So what breaks autophagy? Yes, lemon in your water. Lemon and lime, citrus, oranges, all that will break autophagy. Stevia, if it has dextrose in it. So you have to watch that because a lot of the stevia is cut with dextrose. Coconut water, you say, well, can I have coconut water with my fasting? Yeah, you can, but you will not go into autophagy because coconut water is high in sugar. Anything above 10 calories a day will break autophagy. So that's pretty much you and water. Bullet coffee will break autophagy.
What about supplements?
I'm getting to that. Good question. Anything that creates an insulin response will break autophagy. And if you're going to go through a fast like this for this purpose, you want the benefits on the other side, right? And if you want the benefits on the other side, then you need to pay attention to the to the information and the laws and the rules. So your body does go into autophagy to clean up the mess, right? All right. So the timeline of fasting, 4 to 8 hours is when your blood sugar starts dropping. 12 hours, your human growth hormone starts to rise. Ooh, yes. 16 hours is when you go into fat burning. 18 to 20 hours, autophagy begins. So sometimes it can begin sooner to that, depending on your lifestyle prior. Like I said, if you've had a lot of sugar and carbs, it'll take longer. 36 hours, you're cranking it up. You're cranking the autophagy process up. 300%, 48 hours, 500%, 54 hours, insulin sensitivity increases, autophagy peaks at 72 hours. Now, how long is 72 hours? 3 days. This is, if you want to do this right, you need to do a 3-day water fast. Seeing here how many ketones, autophagy, low insulin, your inflammation goes down. Your body is going through a miracle. Your body is going through a miracle when you fast. Literally, you might feel like crud. My first day, I had a headache. I was walking around like this. Second morning, another headache. The afternoon, I had some energy. Third day, I had a little more energy. And the night, it was after the third day, I actually had a burst of energy on the fourth day. So you can see here that you're literally turning the time clock around. You're stopping the time clock. You're cleaning the river. You're purging the cells. You're eating up, and you're actually repurposing old protein and enzymes in the body. Gluconeogenesis, which means production. Okay, your body can actually survive without glucose. It's called gluconeogenesis, where the simple term is there's a Krebs cycle that glucose goes through about 50 steps before it gets to ATP, which is adeno, whatever. It's your energy output from your mitochondria. But gluconeogenesis is when there's no more glucose stored in the liver, because that's where it's going to take from first. So guess what you're going to do to your liver when you do autophagy? You're going to get a brand new liver. You're going to clean up your liver, because most of your glucose is stored in your liver. Woo, y'all are so smart. So glucose from non-carbohydrate sources. So your body is so smart that it says, oh, all right, folks, we no longer have a storage of glycogen. Glycogen is stored glucose. That it says, all right, boys, put her in reverse. And they turn around and they go right back up the Krebs cycle, bing, 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 and they produce brand new genesis, which is brand new energy fuel for the body. Now, autophagy also cleans up something called zombie cells. Have you ever heard of zombie cells? These are cells that just sit around and they do nothing. They just eat potato chips and ice cream, and they play video games, and they do nothing, and they're spewing out negative things all the time. And guess what? They influence their neighbors to be negative, and then they influence the neighbors to the right, neighbors to the left, and it's like a frequency, and the other cells are influenced by this dead zombie frequency of death. Autophagy comes in and hits every one of those zombie cells and says, you are kicked out. What do you say to somebody that is, what do you call it? Evicted. Yeah, but they're called what are they called when they come into your house? It's squatters. They're squatters. They just squatters. So zombie cell is a squatter cell, and it's influencing others to become squatters. And autophagy comes in and eats up the zombie cells. Glycogen is stored in liver. Okay, I went over all that. So a fasting mimicking diet done for 5 days a month will show the same results of eating a calorie restricted diet for an entire month, stimulating new cells from stem cells. So if you just did 5 days of low calorie per month, you would get the same results as if you did a 3-day water fast. Isn't that amazing? 5 days a month, pick your 5 days where you're going to reduce your calories very low. And I think it's reduction of 900 calories a day. High intensity interval. There it is. High intensity interval, short 2 minutes bursts for strength training will bring about autophagy. Woo! Wow. So, cells keep you alive so you can thrive. So, if there's dendrite that is dead, if there is amyloid plaque in the brain, which is all attributed to the A word, neurological issues, and your diagnosis would be Park-Sun and M and S's, and your diagnosis would be any kind of neurological diagnosis. And you got autophagy that is going in your brain and eating all of that up. Oh my goodness. And your zombie cells, by the way, are called senescent. They actually sometimes have a purpose oh, this is good. When they don't fulfill their purpose is when they become a zombie cell. How about that one? Stagnant buildup ages you, negative influence on other cells. We shared that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Now there's something called a dry fast. And when you go through a dry fast, I don't suggest anybody to hit 3 days of a dry fast. It's a challenge. But this is like super turbo autophagy. So the body goes into a much deeper level of autophagy, adding more stresses to the body, forcing a deeper cleaning. So in other words, all right, this person is not even going to drink water. I have such an appreciation for water right now. So your body is going into another level of autophagy to clean up. When you release fat, water is stored in fat cells. So your body, but your body has water stored in your fat cells. So you're going to get some water. Your liver stores water. Your fat cells store water. So there is a level of reserve already in your body. So when you're not drinking, you're going on a dry fast, your body will release the necessary amounts of water to keep your lights going. I'm a witness. Drinking water will inhibit your own internal metabolic water from an internal flushing. So if you start drinking water in a dry fast, then it will inhibit, it will stop that process of releasing even the water from your liver. So actually you're recycling your river down to the very bottom level when you do a dry fast. I'm going to give you 3 accounts of people who've done dry fasts in the Word of God. Acts chapter 9. Saul did a dry fast for 3 days. Jonah, Nineveh, the entire city, including the animals, did a dry fast for 3 days. Book of Esther, the entire Hebrew nation under the king, Queen Esther, did a 3-day dry fast, including the animals. Wow. There's another account of someone else who did a dry fast that David was coming in to actually, I think it was Gilgal, and going to take back what they had stolen from him. And he had run out, Philistine. I might be misquoting this, but he came out, he met David as he was going in to take, because he had petitioned the Lord himself, and God said, go recover all. And so he was on his way to recover, and a man comes toward them, and he says, I am of this tribe, but I have fasted water and food for 3 days. Please do not kill me. I am for you and with you, and I will tell you where they're at. So God spared his life. Amazing. So there is a purpose for dry fasting, especially in times where difficult times, especially Jonah. All right, 40 days, y'all are dead. I think we'll go into a 3-day dry fast, and we'll go into autophagy before we go into destruction. And Esther, what did the Hebrews do? We'll go into autophagy before we are destroyed. Why? Because what happened as soon as they came out of the fast, they were given the decree to fight for themselves. And they needed the strength, they needed the courage, they needed the boldness. 75,000 were slew right after their 3-day dry fast. Now, where do you get the strength to slay 75,000 of your enemies after you have had a dry fast for 3 days? Only God. Wow. Benefits are very similar to a deep, rejuvenating sleep. Dry fasting strengthens the whole biochemical pathways, the machine that runs your body for better cell function, mitochondria, and it will increase its benefits if you exercise the type of exercise, strength training and interval hit training, intervals, hit training, high intensity hit training. It will actually enhance it. Also, it will actually change your epigenetics. So as it changes your epigenetics, which is actually, your epigenetics take its information from the environment. So if your epigenetics are being turned toward metabolic disorders, you're literally changing out the epigenetics to actually reset your genetics. This is amazing. This to me is just amazing. So the do's and don'ts while fasting: don't drink with your 18-hour intermittent fasting drink when you're eating window. Now, this is with intermittent fasting. If you want to go into autophagy to a level and you want to take advantage of this and you're doing an 18-hour intermittent fasting, then try not drinking anything during those 18 hours. 8 of those hours you're going to sleep probably. And so then do all your drinking during the time frame, the window of opportunity that you're going to eat and drink. Do all your eating and drinking during that window. Does that make sense? And I'm not saying to do this every time, but there's once in a while you may want to do this to put your body into a deeper state of autophagy. Coming off your fast, don't eat sugar. I mean, really, it will pull potassium out of your cells too fast and cause a problem, because to store sugar, you need potassium. So all of a sudden, you've not had it for however long you've gone. Then all of a sudden, oh, I got to have my donut, or I got to have my, you're going after that. First of all, if that's the state of your mind, you did not have an encounter with God during your fast. But sugar requires potassium. And so it will, when you hit the body with immediate sugar after not having any sugar or glucose, then it will pull all the potassium out of your cells. And then all of a sudden you're going to suffer from potassium depletion. No big meals. Gradually come out of your fast with eggs, avocados, bone broth, salads. Wait a few hours. Maybe do a few nuts. A protein shake is a perfect way, bone broth and the protein shake. I came out of mine with bone broth. Then later on in the day, I had a shake. The next day, I had bone broth, shake, and gracious, what else? And a salad. And then the next day, I added a meal with a salad and some vegetables and a little bit of meat. The whole point in fasting is get rid of the effects of the junk food diet. So it's not wise to go back to it immediately. And if you go back to it immediately, you did not seek the Lord during your fast. I'll just say that. So foods that trigger autophagy, certain phytonutrients can trigger autophagy. Green tea, coffee can because of its antioxidant. Certain mushrooms can, ashwagandha and ginger can actually trigger a natural, very light, but it's present process of autophagy. So blood sugar control is really important. There is something called the dawn phenomena if you go several days in fasting, because your blood sugar will then start to spike from 5 to 8 a.m. That's normal, expected after so many days of fasting. It's called the dawn phenomena. One of the things that we have to control that blood sugar and to help heal the glandular system and the organs that have been damaged from too much glucose in the body is glucose balance. It takes a while to get rid of this condition. Best to take a walk in the morning, to walk off the excess insulin that's running around. Or taking glucose balance. The liver does most of the cleaning during your fast. So the liver's working very hard because it's excited because it can get a new liver. Oh my goodness. More information on intermittent fasting, 16, 18, 20 hours. Only eat when you're hungry. All right. So you don't say, oh my goodness, my time's up, so I have to eat. No, let your body tell you when to eat. Morning cortisol spike will trigger a slight hunger, but, and I can't do it, but it's a slight hunger and you just press through it. Stronger hunger is stomach growling, grouchy attitude, lightheaded, weakness. The more you go from glucose burning to fat burning, your body will become more efficient at this. But you'll know, wait a minute, I really am hungry when your stomach's growling and you're grouchy. First goal, reduce sugar and carbs, increase fats, proteins. I don't recommend 3 meals a day, but you can do 3 meals a day during that fasting window. During the eating window time, but no snacks. That's the whole purpose, is no snacks. Second goal is 2 meals and no snacks. So in other words, it's gradually working. If you're used to 3 meals a day and you're used to, plowing all kinds of carbs in your mouth and body for 3 meals a day, start out for a few days with 3 meals a day, then reduce to 2 meals a day, no snacks in between, and start replacing the carbs and sugar with quality fats and protein and good vegetables for minerals and phytonutrients. This will help you go from one meal to the next without snacking and let your body dictate when to eat. The goal is to get to 1 meal a day.
There was a question in the chat. What about drinking saline instead of just water?
Yes, you can do salt. You can do salt in the water. Teas that you can drink is Hoodia gardenia, which is a natural appetite suppressant. It's a tea. And I say it right here, and you can put 1 teaspoon a day for your electrolytes. You also can take B vitamins when you're on a water fast. So it's pretty wise to take your B vitamins, put your 1 teaspoon a day, and that 1 teaspoon is going to be in like 2 quarts of water. Don't put 1 teaspoon in 1 glass of water. It's too strong. Another thing is to make your food available, because if you get to the grouchy, hungry, growling point, you'll eat anything. So the point is to have something prepared, have something ready for you that's quality fat, that has and protein. Now I'm going to pull this up here because I want, okay, because I want you to see this. You kind of want to proportion your plate to 1/4 fats, 1/4 protein, and about half of vegetables during your window time. And I know there's variations to this, and Jennifer can share others, but some of the research I did, this was kind of to make everybody happy. This is why I did this. Mediterranean and a ketogenic diet is a phenomenal diet. The research is coming in on keto, Dr. Nato. I mean, just it's absolutely phenomenal. The research about seizures, brain seizures, the C word, irregular cell reproduction, all of those things are just absolutely amazing on the research on a ketogenic Mediterranean diet. And you can put yourself into a state of ketosis through a Mediterranean and a keto, diet. You definitely can put yourself into a state of ketosis in a carnivore diet. Definitely. And I'm not saying what's good or bad. You just do what fits you. Got it? And what fits you today might not fit you 6 months from now. You may want to add some things to it or switch it up a bit 6 months from now. But salmon oil is really important too to take while you're fasting. Salmon oil, if you're doing a water fast, salmon oil, Super B, take your Pro Vitality. These 3 right here, yes, you can. Why? Because it's going to help eat up the bad cells.
So no Betagard, no, because like the salmon oil and the carotenoids, they all have calories and fat.
Yes, they do. The information that I was reading said to take this.
Yeah, I mean, I did it when I did
Yeah.
fasting, so.
Yeah,
I took
they
it,
just said to take
But
it.
I always questioned it, I always
And-
questioned, tell me about it.
Yes, about the Betagard too. I didn't put that in here, but yes, about the Betagard. Yes.
Because if you're going into autophagy, you want that to help
Yes.
pull everything out.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So these are things that are going to help you to pull those things out when you raise the level of carotenoids, when you raise the level of flavonoids, when you raise the level of nutrients. Now, this, you can take our Neolife tea during a water fast and go into autophagy because there's no sugar in it.
There's honey in.
Yeah, how many calories are in it?
I think it's like 5 or 10.
Yeah, it's below the amount because you have to go below 10.
Below 10.
Yes. So you can take this, just don't put any sweetener in it, but you cannot take this.
Did the Elevate only 10?
Yes. Yeah, that's coming up. Yes. Elevate before your fast. And if you're doing intermittent fasting, take your Elevate during your eating window time. I know it does. It's got.
That's why morning.
Okay, somebody show you how many calories. It's got sugar in it. I'm sorry, it's got sugar in it. How many calories are in Elevate?
No added.
No added sugar. Yes, and if somebody can tell me how many calories it has in it, all right. Somebody will look it up. Look it up. Half a pack. You're right. Wade using his brain. That is awesome. He says use a half a pack. Drink you can drink while fasting. A true fast is eating and drinking nothing but water. Herbal teas, but you can have herbal teas, no sugar. So we're checking on that. Apple cider vinegar. You can actually do apple cider vinegar, drink apple cider vinegar. Green tea has some caffeine and may stimulate cortisol. So green tea has the least amount of caffeine. Black tea has a little more caffeine than green tea, and coffee has the most caffeine in it. But calorie wise, they have calories when you add sugar or cream to it. That's when you're adding the calories. That's when you're going to stop the autophagy. So no sugar, no artificial ingredients, no cream, and especially no skim milk, because skim milk is nothing but sugar.
It's 20 calories.
Half a pack.
Oh, so it's no cream or yes?
No,
No cream.
no cream. No cream. Oh, I'm sorry. Cream, but no skim milk. Yes, I'm sorry. There's no sugar in cream, but there's sugar in skim milk. Yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you.
They take the fat out.
They take the fat out, so it's fat. So you can have cream. Nut milks, almond milk, cashew milk, walnut, coconut milk, and as long as it only has the milk and it doesn't have any sugar, any sweetener in it, no dates or anything like that that's sweetening it. No snacking during intermittent fasting.
I lied. It's 10 calories.
10,
Yeah,
it's 10
Oh.
calories.
yeah.
You said that one ago.
Yeah. Okay, I wanted it verified.
Yeah, it's 10.
Okay, we just got news. Jennifer said that the Elevate is 10 calories a pack. You don't have to drink the whole pack. But if you're doing a water fast or intermittent fasting, then that won't break the autophagy effect. That's good. Good to know. Top of the list for creating damage in the body is snacking. It's the top of the list. It's when you're constantly overproducing insulin dumping, and your body is just constantly trying to deal with it. Where are we going to put this? Where are we going to store that? What are we going to do with this? Oh my goodness, liver. Liver's coughing, liver is in trouble. The snack industry started this trend. Did you not, okay, did they snack 100 years ago?
No.
50 years ago? Did they have snacks 50 years ago?
Yeah. Started coming in.
I was going to say about 50 years ago is when it started coming in. So prior to that, there was no such thing as a snack. So somebody created an industry for snack, and guess who it is? Right there. You can blame it all on them. Eating several times a day never gives your body a rest to recover or heal. It's a chronic flood of insulin to the body. Stop it. Autophagy for fighting the C word. Curcumin, which is in our glucose balance, vitamin A, the Neolife vitamin A, flavonoids, carotenoids, cruciferous, you can take while you're fasting. Wow. You can take those while you're fasting. Brian, you were right on course. And it's going to help your body with the autophagy process. It will help to restore new cells, new tissue, new everything. It helps to assist the body to eat up the damaged cells, to eat up the irregular cell reproduction cells, the mitochondria that's damaged, the zombie cells, the dendrite, the amyloid plaque, all of those things. Oh my goodness.
I do the fighter defense in the morning and then the pro vitality in the evening. Is that you still?
Yes. So I'm going to show you a couple of slides here that, just quite amazing, because it was Thomas Seyfried, and I've shown in the class here one of his videos, but water fast as a potential tactic to beat the C word. All C's can be linked to impaired mitochondrial function and energy metabolism. It's not a nuclear genetic disease. It's a mitochondrial metabolism disease. Therapeutic ketosis can enhance mitochondrial function for some conditions, and literally KILLTUMOR cells. This is great news. This is fabulous news. You can go online and see how they're doing it and have been doing it. They have no cure for glioblastoma. None. All they're going to do is radiate your brain.
What is it called? Rio,
Geo
Yeah.
blast
Blast.
oma. And so, guess what? For this, they have testimonies of people who were given a very short life, that our life 10 years down the road with no sign of it, because they are doing this ketogenic and fasting, and therefore you're not feeding the seed, irregular cell. And Dr. Seyfried has a protocol. He's actually getting it together to where he can actually administer it. You can go online and see what he's doing, but he's using a classification of medications with the state of autophagy. There's a gauge that you use to test out your ketones. And when you're at a certain level of ketones, at a state of autophagy, then you take a specific classification of medications that go in and you pulse the body for a short period of time to actually go in and finish up the job on these irregular cell reproduction. I have all that information. Contact me. I'll talk to you personally about it. It's quite amazing. There's another doctor, Dr. Nicholas, that is doing lipid therapy. Have you ever heard of lipid therapy? Right here in this class, our famous Trey N, who was the first to do lipid therapy, Neolife, in 1958. Now, this is what Dr. Nicholson is talking about his lipid therapy, which is phospholipid thiolides. I'm not saying that right. It's phospholipids. It's sterols, but it's lipids. It's a lipid therapy, and it's all about the brain of the cell. It's all about the membrane of the cell. So when the membrane breaks down, autophagy comes in because the entire cell will break down. When the brain goes, the entire cell goes. Mitochondria goes, DNA goes, everything. So when this happens, autophagy will go in and destroy that cell. But when you take the TRANN lipids and the other lipids, and I'm going to show them to you in a minute, but this is what they're saying. And let me tell you, this is like Nobel Prize winning information. We knew this 66 years ago. I want you to read what they're saying about these lipids. Mitochondria, the power plants of your body, get damaged through aging and other stressors. Lipid replacement therapy is a tool being used to repair the part of this damage to mitochondrial membranes and can help people recover and optimize their energy levels. He is saying, I got his name on this, that we've been taking fatigue. What was our study? Our study in 1958 was on adrenal failure, fatigue, chronic fatigue, autoimmune, all of those things. And by the way, autoimmune is, again, it's when the body turns on itself because it's not been in a state of autophagy to clean up itself. Did you hear what I just said? Autoimmune is a state where the body turns on itself because it's never been in the state of autophagy to clean up itself. So he's showing here that we've been taking people with this chronic fatigue syndromes, mental dysfunction, physical function that are 90 years and plus, and they're gaining back their function like a 30-year-old. Did you see this? He also discusses the importance of lipid replacement therapy as a way to replace damaged membranes, that's the brain, to your cells, to improve mitochondrial function. Lipid replacement therapy also functions to detox and repair chemically damaged cells. What have we been teaching? Is our TRANN improves the cell permeability to upload nutrition by 50% and its ability to detox by 55%. Mitochondrial function, it helps to detox from chemicals, from spike proteins, it's kind of your filter for your river. An increased dose of lipids is crucial for patients with severe chemical damage. And you know, Dr. Nicholson was the #1 doctor who's helping those with Gulf War syndrome. And he's using these phospholipids as therapy to help all those who come out with autoimmune issues called Gulf War syndrome. We've got the solution. We've got the answer. We have got it. So, wow, mitochondrial function to be measured directly by testing mitochondrial membranes and white blood cells, an increase of dose of these crucial patients of severe chemical damage. Wow, what a wonderful opportunity to share our TRANN. So lipid replacement therapy used to restore and repair mitochondrial function by replacing damaged lipids in the membranes and restoring the mitochondrial ability to produce energy in the cells. Infrared saunas will imitate autophagy. That's why it's very important if you have an opportunity to get an infrared sauna, because it will initiate autophagy. Used to remove fat-soluble toxins, because it's used to remove fat-soluble toxins, in particular in the body. And Dr. Garth Nicholson recommends using it along with lipid therapy. So when you take your TRANN, go to the sauna and exercise Tabata training, and you will initiate a transformation from your blood. Oh my goodness. So what do we got? TRANN. Hello. There it is. TRANN. I'm telling you, we have Nobel Prize winning formulas in TRANN, already clinically proven. And the scientists that did the research won a Nobel Prize on our TRANN formula, revealing the importance of cellular therapy, cell membrane therapy. Here it is, phospholipid, and
What about the CoQ10, Lamont?
yes, CoQ10, absolutely. Vitamin E, lecithin, and the vitamin E and carotenoids together shield humans from arrhythmia caused by UV lighting. Put that down. You got a solution for somebody. Lecithin. When I looked up what Dr. Nicholson was putting in their lipid therapy, it was lecithin, vitamin E, and phospholipids. And guess what? That's all in our TRANN. Wow. And then we have take separately vitamin E and lecithin, considered lipid therapy. So yes, Pro Vitality, core nutrition, mobilize energy, bring whole food nutrition to your cells, cellular food. Here's your protein. Here's your daily dose of goodness. Here's your base core foundation of nutrition. Amazing for you, your home, and your family, all around, based in nature, backed by science. All right, now I am going to stop sharing there. So I think that's my last slide. And I'm going to open up after I end. Hold on.